Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the English with Gemma podcast. Today, ladies and gentlemen, I will be wearing my glasses because my eyes are so tired and I can't see, and I need to read my notes. Normally, I don't wear my glasses, especially if I'm recording with a ring light because of the annoying reflection. So if you are a video watcher on YouTube, I'm sorry if you can see the reflection, if you can see the reflection in my glasses. Um, there's nothing I can do about it. And normally I just struggle and I'm blind and I'm squinting, trying to read my notes, but it's been a long day. My eyes hurt, so I will be wearing my glasses. Now, let's jump right into today's topic. So, I'm really excited to talk about today's topic because it's something that's very near and dear to my heart, and it is the wonderful world of tattoos. So, welcome to today's episode where I don't know what is wrong with me. I'm tired, you guys, okay? I'm trying my best. Welcome to today's episode where we're going to dive into the world of everything tattoos because as you can see, I'm wearing a strapless top. I hope that it doesn't look like I'm shirtless and you can actually see the top. Um, because I wanted to show off my new tattoo. I got this one done. I don't know. Hold on. I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna stop talking and just show you. If you're not watching the video on YouTube, you should be. And if you're not, you're missing out. Um, so sorry, but if you can't see this, but if you are watching, I'm gonna show you. Ta-da! Can you see everything? It like wraps around the back and then it goes onto my shoulder. I think it's really cool. So there's my new tattoo. I got that done on my birthday. Um, sorry, there's a piece of dust in the air. And it gave me the idea to make a podcast about tattoos because I got a lot of questions via Instagram and I answered some of them on my stories, but I thought I have a lot more to say about this. So I'm going to make a full podcast episode about it. So I think that this is like my either my 16th or 17th tattoo. I'm not really sure, to be honest. Um, but before I get into like all the topics that I want to cover, I thought it might be fun to start off the episode by reading three separate quotes that I found about tattoos. So here it goes. Tattoos are the only thing we take to the grave. Having one is saying, I had the guts to live and love and express myself. My body is my journal, and my tattoos are my story. Tattoos for me are like a timeline of my life. I could look at a certain tattoo and it reminds me of a certain time in my life and why I got that tattoo. So those are my three quotes that I found that I thought were kind of cool. So today's episode is going to be organized into sections. The first one will be why I personally get tattoos and also respect those who don't want them. Next, I'll talk about the actual process of getting a tattoo, including what it feels like, and then like the healing process. And then I'll move on to my favorite style of tattoos and why I like this style. And then finally, I'll choose a few of my tattoos to talk about, and I'll show them to you while I explain the meaning of them. So I don't know if you can see, but I got quite a lot of tattoos on my arms. And those will probably be the ones that I show you because I'm not gonna show you the rest of my body. It's not that type of podcast. Okay, so I think first, it makes sense to briefly touch on the history of tattooing and where it actually comes from. So, when did it all start? The answer is a very, very, very long time ago. I read an article that states that the oldest known human to have tattoos is a Bronze Age man from around 3300 BCE. And it's cool because the tattoos were actually preserved on his mummified skin. So he was dead, and then the tattoo ink stayed in his skin after he became mummified. But then I also found an article stating that female mummified bodies from 2000 BCE were also found with tattoos on their skin. And I believe those were Egyptian women. So it's not clear exactly when it all started, but definitely a long, long, long time ago. So I'd also like to read a short extract from the Smithsonian Magazine explaining the origin of tattoos across all different types of cultures. All right, here's the quote. Humans have been marking their skin for thousands of years. Around the world, across cultures, tattoos have held countless different significances. Ancient Siberian nomads, indigenous Polynesians, Nubians, native South Americans, and Greeks all used tattoos, and for a variety of reasons. To protect from evil, declare love, signify status or religious beliefs, as adornments, which means like decorations, or even forms of punishment. I know that slaves, for example, were often tattooed as a form of punishment or signifying that they were enslaved. So, it's pretty clear that humans have been marking their bodies with tattoos for a very long time. And I think probably we will continue to do this. And maybe in the future, who knows, we might have some cool advancements in technology where they might find a painless way to tattoo, or maybe they'll even be able to program the ink to have special properties, or they'll be able to like determine how long the ink will stay on your skin. So maybe you don't want to make a lifelong commitment and you just want like a semi-permanent tattoo, and they might find a way to do tattoos like that. Well, I know that they have, those tattoos that you can stick on, but I'm talking about like a proper tattoo that only lasts like a year or something like that. That would be cool. All right, so my first kind of theme is why tattoos? Why do I personally get them? Of course, I can't speak for everybody who has tattoos. This is only from my point of view. And then also, like, why I respect people who don't want them or don't like tattoos. So there are loads of different motivations for getting them. I think, the top one being personal expression and like decorative reasons. I know also cultural significance. A lot of Indigenous and Native American and First Nation people will tattoo their skin on their face. Like they have these traditional tattoos. So, and they have all different types of significance. It can be religious as well. And then commemoration of a specific thing, maybe like a death of a loved one. Maybe you want to get a quote with their handwriting on it, so you have a piece of your relative on your body forever and things like that. So I have a matching quote here. Me and my sister have matching ones. Then I have my mom's favorite flower and her birthday on my back, like back of my neck. And then I have a quote that my mom, she gave me a bracelet for graduation, and it said, "Count your rainbows, not your thunderstorms." So like look at the positives in life, not just the negatives. So I have a lot of tattoos that, have meanings and significance and are important because of different things in my life. So those are just some of the reasons, Also, I know people often get like cosmetic tattoos, maybe like following surgery, they want to cover up a scar. I know some people get tattoos, like actually skin color tattoos over scars. That's a thing too, which I think is fascinating. So there are lots of different types of tattoos and reasons for them. So, my personal way of explaining why I like to get tattoos, especially to people who are like judgmental or like older people who don't really get it, I always say like life is so short. We don't need to take ourselves that seriously. You know, the skin for me is just the outside of your body. It's not who you are. Like it's literally just skin. And I know people are like, it's permanent, it's for the rest of your life, but who cares? Life is so short, and I want to express myself and customize my skin and make art like on my body. And I think it's such a cool way to, you know, have like a timeline of your life all over you. And people that say, oh, it's going to look bad when you're older, or what is it going to look like on your wedding day? Like, those are people that just don't get it. And that's fine. But for me, it's not about like, it's not something that I'm ever going to regret, and they're something I'm really proud of, and I think it looks good on me. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to agree or that you have to, I'm not telling you that you have to like tattoos or have them on your body, right? But don't tell me that I shouldn't have them because it's a personal choice. And I also like to think about it like life is kind of like a video game, kind of, where you get a character, you get a body and a face and hair and skin. And you can choose to not customize your character and never dye your hair a different color, not wear makeup, don't wear accessories, and don't get tattoos. And that's fine. Or you can choose some of those things, but not the tattoos, right? For me, I've always loved playing around with my appearance. I go through phases where I just really like to change up my aesthetic. Sometimes I like to dress like more hippie vibes. Sometimes I like to wear dark makeup and all black and really switch up my vibe because that's the fun of life. Like I even dyed my hair pink at one point, and then blue as well. Like I just think why not dye your hair different colors? Why not get tattoos? Like it's fun. Life is not that serious, and I want to customize my video game character, right? Um, you don't have to agree with me and you don't have to like it, but I like it, right? So that's another thing that I want to emphasize, like the importance of respecting people who have tattoos and choose to get them, and then the importance of respecting those individuals who choose not to get them. I completely understand why people wouldn't want to make a lifelong decision about their body like that. Um, and I totally support it. If you don't want tattoos, don't get them. But I think it's really weird when people comment on other people's bodies, and it's just so unnecessary. So, like, when people tell me, like, oh, you ruined your beautiful skin, or why do you get tattoos? I'm like, ew, don't comment on other people's bodies. That should just be a sacred rule that we all follow, whether it's about weight or acne or scars or anything on your body. Unless I'm explicitly asking you for your opinion, do not give it to me about my body or my appearance in general. It's weird and it's unnecessary. Um, and even if it's a nice compliment, even if it's something nice, I don't really want unsolicited comments on my body or my appearance. Now, if you're my friend and I go up to you and I say, hey, I just got this new tattoo, what do you think? Or I do my makeup a different way and I say, hey, what do you think of my makeup today or my hair? And you give me your honest opinion, even if that opinion is negative and you say, actually, I really don't like your hair or I don't like your new tattoo, I'm not allowed to get mad because I asked for your opinion, right? And I would prefer my friends and family to be honest. But if I don't ask for your opinion, I don't want your unsolicited opinion. And I think we should, whether it's about tattoos or not, I think we should all follow that rule because something I've dealt with for the last 3 years since I've been kind of public on Instagram with my English with Gemma and everything, I have gotten so many disgusting, horrible, unsolicited comments about my body. And, even some of them might be quote unquote positive or nice or saying I'm sexy or beautiful, but it's just really, it just rubs me the wrong way when it's not asked for. And also, like, I'm a young woman who I'm trying to be taken seriously. It doesn't matter how much skin I show, it doesn't matter what I wear. I should just have your respect. And if you're not here to learn English and you're just here to like look at me and sexualize me, then I would prefer those people to unfollow me, right? So I've always said that. And I stand by that. I think Like if people are truly interested in my content and learning English and the fact that I'm a teacher, I'm not a model, like I'm not here to look pretty. Yes, I like doing my makeup. Yes, I like dressing nicely, but I do all of that for myself. I do not do that for you or anyone else or anyone watching. So I would just appreciate like if people didn't comment on that kind of stuff. I would much prefer comments about my content. Like, wow, Gemma, I love this video. I love this podcast. That's such an interesting topic. Thank you so much for sharing. Like those types of comments make me feel so good and they validate the work that I'm doing. But then when I get comments about my body and my appearance, I'm just like, ugh, is that all that people care about? It's frustrating. So we should respect people no matter what, tattoos or no tattoos. Let's all stop commenting on people's bodies without them asking because it's just weird. It's 2024. Like, we know better than that, right? So the next thing I wanted to talk about is like what is it actually like to get a tattoo? And then like the healing process and what that feels like. As soon as I said that, my tattoo started itching because this is still a new tattoo and it's still healing, so it's very itchy. And I'll explain more about that in a second. So basically, I'm going to describe the whole tattooing process from start to finish, from choosing your design to actually getting into the tattoo session. So it's different, obviously, everywhere. Every artist is different, every tattoo studio is different. It is very uncommon nowadays to go into a tattoo place and just choose a design from the wall. Like in the past, that's what people used to do. There are still many places that do that, and they call them like flash tattoos normally, or wanna do's. Like the artists want to do those tattoos, so they have like a book and they say you can pick one of my wanna do's. But I've personally have never gotten a tattoo like that. I've always like planned it out and then gone with an idea. Or normally, what you do now is because of Instagram, you normally message your tattoo artist first. You tell them your idea. You say where you would like the tattoo, how many inches it's going to be, because that all depends on the price, right? Then you show them like some reference photos. So you can go on Pinterest or wherever and get some pictures of what you would like. Your tattoo artist is not going to copy something completely because that's plagiarism and they are artists, right? They are very talented artists and they're not going to just steal someone else's work. So reference photos are just for reference. Normally, a good tattoo artist is never going to look at a picture and be like, yep, I can do exactly that and copy paste. That's very rare. So yeah, basically when I got this tattoo, I found a picture I liked, sent it to my guy. And he got back to me with a couple designs. Like I think he even drew 6 designs for me. And he is really cool because he has this program where he can put the tattoo onto an image. So he'll pick a picture of a girl with like a bare arm, and then he'll basically project that image onto the arm so I can see what the tattoo is actually going to look like, how big it's going to be, the way that it's going to wrap around my arm, and all that kind of stuff. So that was for this tattoo that I recently got, which was really cool. Like I was able to see the design on skin and how it would look, or like just get an idea of how it would look. So yeah, I chose this design. I paid a deposit. Normally you should pay, especially for big tattoos like this, you should pay a deposit. And then you go to the tattoo studio when you have your appointment. They the first thing they do is they clean your skin and they shave. It doesn't matter normally where you're getting it, they always shave your skin. They shave your hair because we all have body hair, right? Even if it's just a little bit, you don't want a tattoo on top of hair. You want the area to be completely clean and smooth. So they'll clean your skin, shave your body part, and then they use this really cool printer where they print like a stencil, and the ink that it is normally purple. Basically, it's a piece of paper that's sticky, and they stick that design of your tattoo onto your skin, and they use that as a stencil so that they're going over the lines. And that goes on purple. So a lot of people were asking me like, why was your tattoo purple at the beginning? It wasn't my tattoo, it was just a stencil. And then, of course, the ink is actually black when they use the needle and really tattoo your skin. Sometimes they won't use a stencil and they'll just draw something freehand. I've seen a lot of artists do that, and I have a freehand tattoo on my ankle. This was like a mixture. He had the stencil, but then he drew a few freehand leaves on with the flowers. Um, so that was kind of just adding into the tattoo. Oh, by the way, freehand means like without a stencil, just drawing straight on the skin. So then you get comfortable. They have these chairs that have all different types of positions, and you can choose if you want to be lying down, sitting up, whatever. I was kind of reclined because this was my arm. And my session lasted 6 hours. Of course, you can take breaks. You can take as many breaks as you want. I only took one break just to go to the bathroom because for me, I would just prefer not to prolong the process and just get it done as quickly as possible. So I didn't take too many breaks. And then a lot of people on Instagram ask me, like, what does it feel like? For me personally, I don't find tattoos like that painful. My most painful one was this one on my inner arm. As you can see, it's very dark. It's a mandala design on my left forearm. It's very dark and it has a lot of shading. And it was very painful. It only took like 1 hour, but it was so much more painful than this big one. Um, and also, it depends on the thickness of the needle. Like this big flower thing on my right shoulder, it's thin line. So you can see like the lines are very thin. So the needle is smaller, so it doesn't hurt as much. And it's on the outside of my arm, so you don't have as many nerve endings on the outside. Whereas the inside of your arm, your ribs, under your armpits, anywhere where the skin is sensitive or thin, or you're tattooing directly onto bone, basically my ankle, my inner ankle, that really hurt too. So anywhere you have a lot of like bones or nerves, it's gonna hurt more. And the actual sensation is like, for me, it kind of feels like a mixture between if your skin is really sunburnt and someone scratches it repeatedly, or like a bee sting, because there's a lot of like buzzing and tingling sensations. You'll feel a lot of vibration because the tattoo needle vibrates as it injects the ink into your skin. Um, but it's not that bad, to be honest. Like, it's funny, I asked the two tattoo artists, Romark and Jarek at Inksmith in Bermuda, by the way. Shout out to them if they're listening. They're both from the Philippines and they're just really cool guys. Love them. I was talking to them and I asked them who sits better for tattoo sessions? Like who takes less breaks, complains less? I said men or women? And they said women, 100% women. I think it's because women are used to being in pain, you know? Like we have periods, we give birth, like we have normalized living in pain so much. So like a tattoo is nothing for us. And then men are like, oh, help. Anyways, it was funny. There was a guy in the tattoo studio while I was getting tattooed. He was only in there for like 2 hours out of the 6 that I was in there, but he was struggling. Like he was in a lot of pain, and I felt so bad for him. But to be fair, he was getting a very dark colored tattoo and like lots of shading. So they use this different type of needle for the shading, and it's very thick. And then the shading is a very abrasive, aggressive sensation. So his whole tattoo was basically shading. So I understand why he was like, ah, help me. But it was still kind of funny. Um, so then when your tattoo is healing, it will be very itchy and it peels. So don't if you're new to getting tattoos or you get your first tattoo and your tattoo starts peeling like a sunburn, you know, when you get a really bad sunburn and your skin peels, don't panic. It's supposed to happen. And little pieces of ink will come off. You'll see with the skin that peels off, some black or colored ink will come off. That's totally normal. Don't pick, don't scratch, don't touch. You wash your tattoo twice a day, put cream on it. And then now mine is going through the phase where it doesn't really need to be washed anymore. It just needs cream. Just put cream on every time it itches you or bothers you. That's my rule. I don't want to over moisturize my tattoos because you can block the skin and cause infections and stuff. But I am a firm believer. I have 17 tattoos. They've all healed perfectly and beautifully. As soon as your tattoo starts itching and causing you discomfort, it doesn't matter how many times it says to put cream on, just put cream on it if it's itching. You just need a little bit, but don't be afraid to really moisturize that bad boy because you do not want it to be itching and peeling. It's not fun. Um, yeah, again, my advice is do not pick, do not scratch, because if you pick and scratch at your tattoo when it's peeling, you're going to end up ripping ink out of your skin and your tattoo is going to heal patchy and look like shit. So don't do that. So that moves on to my next topic, which is my favorite types of tattoos. Right now, I have a bunch of different styles of tattoos. Right now, my favorite type is like fine line. So that's sometimes even with a single needle, like really thin, like these ones here. I don't know if you can see it very closely. This is like very fine. I think that's literally, I don't know what gauge of needle that is, but it's very, very thin. And I have another one from the same artist on this side, very thin. And you can see these tattoos are not as dark as my other ones. They're a lot lighter. And that's because they're a thin line. Whereas this one is a thick, normal sized. And then this one is kind of in between. This yoga girl that I have on my outer shoulder, that is actually a picture of me, um, that I got on my arm because I love myself and I like yoga. That's kind of in the middle of thin and thick. Like it's not super thin, but it's not super thick either. But there's all different types of tattoo styles. You know, there's traditional, that's like the stuff like swords and roses and big, thick tattoos that say I love my mom and stuff like that. Then you have realism, which is so cool. I've seen some really awesome, realistic tattoos of celebrities' faces, and they literally look like they're alive. Like they look more real than the actual celebrity. It's crazy. So that's realism, realistic tattoos. Then you have like geometric tattoos. Geometric, of course, is with like shapes, a lot of sometimes dot work. So you can see tattoos that have lots of dots. That's like dot work tattoos. Those are cool. But yeah, there's personal preference and different aesthetic styles when it comes to tattoos. I really like Miley Cyrus's tattoos. She has loads of little ones all over her, and that's kind of like my vibe that I've got going on, obviously apart from my half sleeve on my right shoulder that I have now. I do like having a bigger tattoo. And I like that it's all one piece, but I also really like the aesthetic of having just like loads of little tattoos. Um, so I want to finish off by talking about some of my favorite or most meaningful tattoos. But I also want to say that like tattoos don't necessarily have to have a deep meaning. A lot of my tattoos do have a meaning, but then like for example, these flowers have no meaning. I just like flowers and I wanted to decorate my arm with flowers, right? I mean, if you wanted to, you could be like, it represents growth and blah, blah, blah. But if I'm being honest, I just liked how it looked. That's it. So something that always makes me laugh is when people say, "Oh, cool tattoo. What does it mean?" And I'm like, I have a tattoo of an elephant on my ankle because I like elephants, right? Like it doesn't always have to have a meaning. Um, so yeah, I just want to throw that idea out there. Like you can just have tattoos simply for the aesthetic value rather than meaningful. I was gonna try and like show you my tattoos, but I realized they're all gonna be upside down because of my arms. And then I don't know if I'm too far from the camera. But one tattoo I got recently, I don't know if you can see, is this long-tailed bird. I got it on my outer, how do I explain this for people who can't see it? My outer right elbow, kind of. I'm gonna try to show it to you. Can you see? It's a little thin line long-tail bird. And that one's cool because that is the bird of Bermuda. So I have that on my right arm, and then on my left arm, I have the actual island of Bermuda, like the outline. I don't know if you can see that, but yeah. I don't know if you can see it, but that's Bermuda. So those are two of my favorites because they represent my home country, and I don't know, I just like I like the positioning of where they are too. Like if I hug myself like this, they're both there. And I just always have a piece of my home with me. So I really like those. Then I have this quote on my inner arm, my right arm, that says, "This too shall pass." And it comes from poem. A lot of people have told me it's actually from an Iranian poet, which I never knew. But since starting my Instagram, it's so cool. I've been connected with so many people from around the world, and apparently it comes from an Iranian poet, which I had no idea. So the full quote is, "And in the end, this too shall pass." And I really like that because it literally means life is impermanent. The only permanence is impermanence, right? Things are always changing. This too, this also will pass, will go by. Whether it's a positive thing or a negative thing, everything in life will eventually change. Nothing stays the same. And it's really comforting because when I'm going through difficult times, I can look at that tattoo and say, this too shall pass. This is not going to be my life forever. I'm going to get through this. And when I'm going through beautiful, fun, amazing times, this too shall pass reminds me that I should really value and appreciate the beautiful experiences I'm having right now because I won't always have them. I'll just have the memories, right? So this too shall pass for me is such a powerful quote. And my sister has it matching on her arm. This was my first tattoo also. That's why it's special to me. First ever tattoo. I got it in England with my sister. And the reason we got it is because my mom used to say that to us all the time as kids. And we used to find it so annoying. We'd be like, what does that even mean? Like, we would be like, Mom, this boy dumped me and I'm so sad and blah, blah, blah. And my mom would always be like, this too shall pass. And it wasn't until we got older that we kind of realized the weight of that sentence. Like, it's so true and it's so beautiful. And that's why my sister and I decided to get that as well. That was my first tattoo. I think it was my sister's second. And I got that when I was 17 or 18 years old. So that was my first one. So that's always a special one for me. Anyways, I could go on and on and on about my tattoos, but I think that's enough for now. Um, yeah, because I do have quite a few and I think those are my favorites. Oh, and then of course, like my new favorite is my new big floral piece on my arm because I just think it's so pretty and delicate and I like how it wraps like onto my neck as well. Sorry, not my neck, my chest, my collarbone. I think it's cool. I just like the positioning of it. So, yeah, that basically concludes today's episode. I hope you enjoyed learning more about tattoos. If you are a tattoo enthusiast like me, be sure to let me know what your favorite tattoo is in the comments. And if you learned something new, also let me know. And don't forget, I was going to say don't remember. Don't forget, do not judge people for their decisions about their bodies, right? Like I said, it's 2024. I think at this stage in society, we know better than to judge people based on their outward appearances. We shouldn't be judging people at all, but if we are going to judge people, we should judge them based on their character and their way of being and how they treat us, not how they look. So that applies for tattoos and everything about appearance. Don't judge a book by its cover and don't judge a person by their tattoos. Thank you so much for listening. And don't forget to tune in every Friday for a new episode. And until the next time, happy learning, guys. Bye.